Hello. Welcome back. It is the 90 Mile Podcast. We're back again. Sorry, it's been a little bit of a hiatus. I know our last video kind of came out late. We were a little late on the bandwagon, if you will.
My bad.
Uh,
It was my
both of
bad.
them.
My
Yeah,
bad.
Adam's fault, as always. We are back today. Today we are going to be discussing NFL free agency. Of course, it is still going on. There are still signings going on. But I think the craziness, the eye of the storm is past us. There's going to be some notable free agents left. You know, you have your Jadeveon
Oh yeah.
Clownies, your I mean,
Um.
there's one
Yeah.
there's one that we're probably
Ryan
both thinking of
Kerrigan.
there.
Ryan Kerrigan.
Right, Ryan Kerrigan. I mean, if anyone wants him, I mean, yeah, but we're gonna jump right into it, giving our winners for each division in free
For each.
agency slash trades.
Yeah. First off, we'll go with the AFC East. That's the Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. Uh. But looking at it, I have the list right here. I really think Patriots won. I think they planned it around how Belichick's coaching, especially with the two tight ends set with Hunter Henry and Jonathan Smith, which I think was a phenomenal signings with both of them. They got. I do think they paid Aguilar a little too much, but I think he's going to fit in well with that system as over the top to help with the run game with Cam Newton. Uh, they did get a lot of some notable defensive guys. They got Calvin Neuback, which is actually hysterical that they had the fourth round for his compensatory pick and him. Jalen Mills was a solid pick. He used to be good with the Eagles. And then I think he's going to have a huge bounce back year with them. And Matthew Judon. I think Jets. I was looking at it. Jish and I were talking before Jets. You want to talk about the Jets or?
I mean, I could talk about the Jets. I wasn't really. I mean, I like what they're doing. They just need to bang it out of the park with this draft in order for me to really get excited about this team.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your Tevin Coleman, Corey Davis, both probably near the top of their position rankings. And Carl Lawson as an edge rusher, Sheldon Rankins. So they're bringing in people who are excited to work for Salah, and they have Tevin Coleman has that connection with the new offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur, who was the offensive quality assistant in San Fran. So I mean, I like the direction the Jets are going. They just need to bang it out of the park in this draft, which they can with their many picks. I think Joe Douglas now Joe Douglas is going to come out to play. I feel like he's been holding back a
Yeah.
little bit. He kind of inherited a mess, and now he's making it his team. So good on him. They got Vinny Curry, good veteran
Yeah.
depth. Dan Feeney, Tyler Croft.
The
They're
only
getting depth pieces.
only thing that scares me with the Jets is this is like a cycle where they give a lot of potential, make notable free agency signings, Le'Veon Bell and C.J. Mosley, get a young quarterback in Sam Darnold. Like it's just like a cycle with them. Maybe this one's different. I think Robert Saleh has the potential to be different, but it
Yeah,
is a cycle with the Jets to get
hold
the
on,
fans'
hold on,
hopes up high, and then
hold on. This is definitely different. You're gonna tell me that signing Tevin Coleman is comparable to signing Le'Veon Bell, who never really was gonna fit in Adam Gase's system anyway? The Jets in the past have been trying to make these splashy home run, winner of the offseason type
yeah,
signings, but it seems like they actually have a direction with these signings. It seems
yeah,
like they aren't picking names just for names, and they're trying to actually add pieces that's going to fit for them. With the Patriots, I think this free agency showed a little bit of free agency desperation of them trying to get back to where they
no.
were. But
I disagree. I disagree completely. Belichick loves the two tight end sets. He drafted Gronk and Aaron Hernandez in the same draft. Hernandez is more the receiving tight end, like Hunter Henry. Jonathan Smith's more the blocking tight end. Gronk, I feel like that fits in well. Like I spoke a little bit about it with Jalen Mills. I feel like he's going to have a bounce back season. He's going to fit in great with that Patriots team, with Belichick's coaching. Matthew Judon, and yes, they did go after some of the big names, Matthew Judon and uh, I guess Kyle Van Noy a little bit, Trent Brown. But I feel that that's like it's not the Patriot way, but it's going to be the Patriot way now with Belichick changing his game with not having the best quarterback of all time with him.
see, no, I didn't like the Matthew Judon signing. I don't think he fits into that Belichick system. I think people like Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins are perfect. You know, they got Josh Uche in the draft last year. Perfect fit. Matt Judon can't really give you anything off the ball at all. So they would have to strictly put him on the line, either uh, either a 2 point stance, 4 point stance, whatever. They really have to utilize him right, and I think they might have overpaid for him a little bit. As for Jalen Mills, listen, I mean, it's Eagles safeties always revitalize their careers in New England for some reason. You know, you have your Patrick Chungs, and that's who Jalen Mills is going to replace. So I think that this Patriots defense is going to come back healthy, um, which is
They
good,
also get a
and
lot of players back from the
uh huh,
COVID list,
which is good. You
or
know
off
that
the
that's going to be good for them. So as an off, I'm not going to say the Patriots won until they fix their quarterback situation because
it.
Cam Newton's not it anymore. Cam Newton's going to have to take on a mentorship
Yeah,
role, whether he likes it or not. I actually wanted to
yeah.
bring attention to the Dolphins. I kind of like
I
what
was
they're
just
doing
about to
too.
bring that up too.
I
There's a
think
lot
that
of smaller, but like I love the Will Fuller signing.
Yeah, I think the Will Fuller signing is one that everyone's going to point to, but I think Jacoby Brissett is a great backup option that they brought in.
Oh
I think that bringing in Matt
yeah,
Skura is a good depth piece since I think they still need to address that interior offensive line. Bringing Benerick McKinney from the Texans, I think they fleeced the Texans for him. They got him for what, a seventh round pick in Shaq Lawson. I think he's a solid linebacker who they bring back and who can fit in that Brian Flores system. I kind of like what the Dolphins did this offseason too.
Also, yeah. Also, Malcolm Brown. He's more of the bigger. Like you only need him for like 3rd and 1 and goal, and he's gonna go well with Miles Gaskin in the backfield.
Him and Adam Butler, they brought both of them in. I think they are. I think they know what they're doing as well. I think Miami's ready to take the next step to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Bills also did fine. I mean,
Well,
their
they won
main
10 games. They won 10 games last year with the rookie quarterback. So yeah,
well, it was mostly Ryan Fitzpatrick, but
yeah.
because they had to bench Tua twice. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. He was a rookie who was kind of thrown in there. I think all the Tua hype is, or the Tua hate isn't, overreaction. I mean, and briefly to touch on the Bills, I think the majority of their offseason went to bringing back Matt Milano. Good signing, but I feel like that's all they really could
Yeah.
do. I mean, they brought in
Well,
Emmanuel Sanders, just
yeah, that's what I was
good.
gonna be. Emmanuel Sanders was a phenomenal pickup in my opinion. Since they got rid of John Brown,
hmm
that's gonna fill in.
I think
Uh,
they did a good job of bringing the pieces back. And Matt Breida they brought in, I actually I like that. I don't love it because they still have Singletary and Moss, who are
mhm.
good young running backs. So Breida might not even see the field that
Yeah.
much, but you know,
Okay. Yeah. So now let's go to the AFC North, the
Ravens.
Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers.
Okay, so the winner is the Browns. I think we can agree on that. I think bringing in John Johnson, absolutely huge. That's what they needed. And I think literally that signing alone, Anthony Walker's a solid pickup. Malik Jackson is a solid pickup on the interior. But John Johnson alone, I think, wins it for the Browns. I think the other teams just kind of fell asleep. I like how the Steelers brought
Uh,
back Juju discounted, but they didn't really do too much. The Ravens only really brought in Sammy Watkins. They didn't really fix their wide receiver hole, which they really could have done. I think they dropped the ball there. And the Bengals, I think there weren't too many signings that really
I've
like
never
got me excited.
like the Bengals had a lot of solid picks, but like none that were like blockbuster. Like they had Awuzie, Apple, and Hilton, who all have potential because they all have talent. It's just about them putting all the pieces together. So if one of those hits, that's a great sign for them. Trey Hendrickson is I don't know any like I think
They
the
bid
money
on
that they
they bid
gave
on
him
the
is gonna
16 sacks he had, or however many sacks.
well no, it's not that I don't think Hendrickson's good. I just feel that the amount that they give him is the same that Carlton got from the Jets. Why don't they bring back the guy who's familiar with that team?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think
And
A lot of Hendrickson's production kind of were opportunity sacks, like Patrick Jones at a Pitt. That's completely different. But a lot of them were opportunity sacks. He had a lot of sacks, which is commendable. But there isn't really like one
Yeah.
elite trait about Trey Hendrickson. A lot of it also could be attributed to on the other side of him was Cam Jordan. On the inside was Sheldon Rankins. Like all good defensive linemen in their own right. Cameron Jordan being great. And I don't think that they address that O-line enough. If you're the Bengals, you need to get some more veteran presence. I don't
Well,
think Riley Reef and
I was
Quinton
gonna
Spain are
say,
going to cut it. So I think they better go
well,
Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater in the
yeah, I was
draft.
gonna say Riley Reef and Queen Spain were great pickups in my opinion, and they just need to finish it with Gane Sewell, who's one of the best offensive tackle prospects of in recent history.
Mm-hmm. But the
Okay.
Browns, I mean, not only John Johnson, but
Yeah.
Troy Hill, I completely
It,
overlooked that too.
Tack McKinley lined up across from what's his face,
Miles Garrett. I think
Miles
they're still
Garrett.
going to do more
That
to
was
address the edge rushing position because I don't think Tack McKinley just fixes it. But I think that that's,
no,
a step in the right direction. Good depth.
yeah, yeah. Okay, now let's go with AFC South: the Texans, Titans, Colts, and Jaguars.
Texans have a
Uh,
lot of signings, but you can give your winner.
yeah, I gotta go with the Jaguars. There's none that really like threw everything out. Like the Texans actually, I think, lost with the fact that they paid Philip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, and they still have David Johnson on their team. Like to me, with how the by looking at it, how the Texans went, they were just like throwing money everywhere, not having an idea of what they were doing. But it wasn't like big contracts; it was just so many little contracts that just built up. That just doesn't make sense. Colts, they've still like besides the Carson, like they always have a lot of cap space, but they never use it, which I honestly think is good because they have a lot of young talent on that team. That it's better to keep your player like the talent that's on your team, keep them with them instead of going big in free agency. It's like what was it since like 2017 or I forget the exact year, but the Jaguars and the Jets spent the most money in free agency since that time, which is just showing that you need to draft well, not free agent like do free agency well.
I can agree with you to an extent. I do think that the Jaguars also won, um, more than anything. Uh, the Texans, I think they brought in some solid guys, but it just does not seem like they know exactly what they're doing. I like the signing of Philip Lindsay and Mark Ingram. I think that's a good 1-2 punch, and Tyrod Taylor as a backup, maybe starter with all the Deshaun Watson Busby. Yeah, Deshaun Watson might not ever play football ever again. The Colts, I don't think that they can even be considered for winning because Carson Wentz, I
Yeah,
still think just needs more weapons in Indy. I know they brought back T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman's looking really solid, but I think I heard that they have like I heard one thing and it really made sense to me. They have like three wide receiver twos. They have T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, and Michael Pittman, who are all like solid wide receiver twos with a rotation of Paris Campbell and what, but they still I don't think have a good solid number one. Plus they didn't really fill the need that
yeah,
Anthony Costanzo left them after retiring. And I think they just need a little bit more pass rush.
mm,
They spent most of their money just trying,
yeah,
well, most of their money on Carson Wentz, but most of their money trying to retain guys like Xavier Rhodes, who did fine, but I mean that secondary coach is gone. Um,
yeah.
and the Titans, I
But I'm
think,
saying like,
actually kind of walk away with more needs than they actually have
oh my god, I
solid
lost so
positions.
much.
I mean, they have like no offensive line. Like who's starting at tackle for them? It's Ty
What's
Sembrillo,
this? Well,
Kendall
no,
Lamb.
Taylor Lewan.
Well, yeah, Taylor Lewan, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about on the other side. Dennis Kelly, I think,
Oh
didn't he
yeah.
retire? I think Dennis
Maybe
Kelly
I'm not sure about
retired, and what happened with Isaiah Wilson. So
yeah. And the Bud Dupree signing, I think Bud Dupree's great, but he's more of the cleanup guy for TJ Watt, and giving someone that much after 20 ACL is just a huge red flag.
I I think a lot of people hate too much in that Bud Dupree contract, and I think you're falling victim to this. I don't blame you because this is the
Well,
popular opinion across the NFL. But Bud Dupree gives you. I think Harold Landry has the potential to be a semi TJ Watt, not as good obviously, but Harold Landry can be your TJ Watt, right? And I think Bud Dupree is a good complement. I think that they have similar skill sets, and I think that Bud Dupree gives offenses more another thing to worry about on that slowly kind of stacked D line, defensive front. I just think in the secondary they lost like everything. I mean, a few years ago
Oh,
they had Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson, they had
right,
Malcolm
where are they now?
Butler. Like
Where are
now
they now?
they have a bunch of like slot corners and Janoris Jenkins. They have Janoris Jenkins, Kevin Johnson, and Desmond King, all like kind of C grade corners. In all honesty, so they have
Yeah,
and they
they're all
drafted
out of their prime.
they drafted Christian. Well, some of them never even reached their prime. Let's be real. Kevin
Well,
Johnson
well,
never
no,
lived it up.
oh yeah, Kevin Johnson. I was talking about Jenkins and King because
Yeah, King had a very
had a
short.
couple years of
King is a
really
returner,
good
man.
now.
Like he's less of a corner, more of a returner. They
Yeah,
drafted Christian Fulton last year in the draft. I really like that pick. We'll see how he does in the second round. That was a steal in my opinion, but I think they have a need an offensive line and corner, and I think that they really need to address it. They can't just feed Derrick Henry, who does push-ups off of skyscrapers and King Kong bangs on his chest. Yeah, you can do that all you want, but if you have nobody at right tackle,
oh my god,
you're gonna feed him like what cereal? Like what's in the bowl? He's gonna. Of course, you can't count out Derrick Henry with his
Cocoa
work ethic and
Breeze.
whatnot, but Jesus
He's gonna
Christ.
be getting Cocoa Breeze, not Cocoa Puffs.
Little camp joke.
Uh,
All right,
okay,
let's take this to the AFC West.
yeah, Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos. I'm debating, but like the Broncos made some solid picks. They just still don't have a quarterback. That's like the biggest flag. Kansas City, I don't think so. I think getting rid of both their tackles was yes, I do agree with the injuries, but you now have no tackles on your team. But the Joe Thuney, whatever, that was a phenomenal pickup for them. But honestly, looking at the Raiders made some big moves, but they also lost a good amount. If I'm thinking right, yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Broncos. The
yeah.
Broncos have really Vic Fangio to their secondary. They brought in Kyle Fuller. I think the Ronald Darby deal was probably the worst in free agency, but he's serviceable as a corner too. I think that was the role he played in Buffalo a few years ago, and that's when he thrived the most when he was playing with Stephon Gilmore. And I think Kyle Fuller still has what it takes to be a corner one. Justin Simmons they brought back. Kareem Jackson they brought back. Both incredible. They brought back Shelby Harris, so they're really keeping that defense in place. Their offense, they have all the weapons. They just need to kind of step up a little bit. And I do agree they do need
Yeah.
They do need a quarterback, but I think that they can address that in the draft. And with my mock draft, I do have them taking a quarterback, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for that. The
Yeah,
Raiders, the Raiders were just too confusing for my taste.
they're all over the place. But
I
like
don't.
some of the signings were solid. I think Nana Ngakwe and Solomon Thomas were solid signings because they always got killed in the run on defense. So building up the D line is really gonna make some differences for them.
I think this offseason really turned the Raiders' biggest strength, their offensive line, into one of their biggest weaknesses going forward. It's
Oh
super old. They were gonna release Rodney Hudson, so it's a miracle that they got any value for him, which is actually I think that was actually pretty good because they literally announced we are releasing Rodney Hudson. Then still, and he was the best center in the league too, and they want to replace him with the Texans center, and we know how Deshaun Watson did. So I mean, when their biggest signing was, I think their biggest signing was a backup running back in Kenyon Drake, who would I guess be like kind of a change of
well,
pace back
no,
behind
I
Josh
think that
Jacobs.
like Yannick Ngakwe is still he still has potential. Solomon Thomas is still was a first round pick, so he has potential. And that's what I'm saying. They had a lot of the under the radar signings that if they can get some of those players to go to reach their max potential, it's a great free agency for them. But the chances of all that happening are very slim.
And they did not address safety whatsoever, and I feel like they should have.
Yeah.
So they have so many places they have to look in the draft. I think the best signing though in this entire division was Corey Linsley to the Chargers. I think that was mwah,
Yeah.
perfect, chef's kiss. That's exactly what you need. It's awesome that they brought him in. Jared Cook they brought in. He's pretty solid. He's old,
Yeah.
so he's not going to be your future. They also brought in Kyler Fackrell. I don't know. I didn't really see him do too much with the Giants last year, but I guess
He
he's
was
like
hurt. He was hurt a lot. He
okay.
missed like
So,
half.
but with the Packers, he had his moments. He's a good rotational guy,
Yeah.
especially in that new Brandon Staley defense. He's the kind of outside linebacker they're probably going to need. Matt
Yeah.
Filer, I think, was a good signing. He can play inside. They just are going to have to go tackle in the draft. You know, it is what it
Mhm.
is.
It is what it is. Okay, now let's go to our division, NFC East. Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, and the football team.
The football team, led by
Uh,
one man who does not deserve mention.
okay. Now, looking at it, like the Cowboys and Eagles both made some solid picks,
We
but
just
it's really
signed
between
Eric
the Giants
Wilson
and the
today, and we brought back Jordan Howard today.
yeah.
I think Eric
It's
Wilson's
really
a good
between
signing.
it's
Go ahead.
yeah, no, but it's really between the Giants and the football team. Like, yeah, the Joe Flacco thing, I'm not that huge on that, but it is a good idea to if you think what's his Jalen Hurts is your guy, it's a good signing just as like the veteran presence. And the Anthony Harris, I think, is a great pickup. I was upset when I saw them signing because he played with a young secondary this past year. Like, obviously not Harrison Smith, but like the corners are very young, and young corners tend to not do so well in the NFL. And before that, when he was going against playing with veteran corners, he was a phenomenal safety. So that is definitely scary to see that happen. Cowboys, they haven't really made any huge signings besides getting Dak back. Like, I'm looking at it, they have Keanu Neal and they got Demonte Kazee, who's played well for a little bit with the Falcons, but like none of their pickups are like solid guys that you know are going to contribute every down that the defense is on. Because they didn't really make that
Jeremy
many.
Sprinkle. You take that back about what you just said about Jeremy Sprinkle.
I said on the defense.
Don't disrespect Jeremy Sprinkle.
No. Okay. But now let's go to who we think won. I'm looking at it. I I honestly I'm gonna be biased, but I think the Giants won.
I was
I think
expecting
like
that.
obviously yeah. I think the Leonard Williams, Adoree Jackson and Kenny Galladay are huge ones. But I feel like people aren't talking about is the Ifedi Odenigbo and Danny Shelton. Danny Shelton's an absolute beast on the D line and D tackle, especially against the run game, and he definitely fills that hole that we lost with Dalvin Tomlinson. But Ifedi Odenigbo had 5.5 sacks last year while being double teamed at the second highest rate in the NFL. And this year, he's not going to be double teamed that often, considering we have Danny Shelton, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence all on the D line with him. So I think that's a huge sign. I think he's going to have a great year. But then again, like obviously, like Washington, I think the Fitz Magic was a phenomenal signing, and the Curtis Samuel was a good signing. Oh, and William Jackson. So yeah, it's really, like both teams had three solid picks and a bunch of like little like things that had a lot of potential. So it really depends on the small things with how many of those hit to see who really won this free agency.
Um, I'm gonna play contrarian. I think Washington won in our division. I think only because they have slightly more stability at the quarterback position, right? You sign Kenny Galladay, who I do not think will gel with Daniel Jones that well, because Daniel Jones, I mean, come on, we can both admit he isn't the most accurate passer, right? If you look at most of Kenny Galladay's catches, they come from dimes from Matt Stafford, basically. Of course, he has to make the spectacular catches, but they're basically 1 in a million plays that he can create. I think that Fitzpatrick, while he is very streaky, provides a little bit more stability at least. And I think with their
Yes.
weapons, now with adding um Curtis Samuel to the mix, who's a gadget do it all everything, can add a spark to that offense that already has Terry McLaurin and Cam Sims, who broke out, Logan Thomas. And I actually like the John Ross signing probably a little bit more than
Oh,
the Galladay signing, if I'm being completely fair and balanced. Only because I think John Ross is a burner and Daniel Jones can throw deep. I will give you that. He is a deep ball thrower, and I think John Ross can be your deep threat. I think Kenny
well,
Galladay, he'll do well, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if he's worth the 19 million a year. But and also
yeah,
William Jackson for that defense is. I
yeah.
hate to say it, but
The only
yeah,
thing
no,
with
we're
the
gonna be
Galladay
spit
is
on.
that if you look at the Giants' pass catchers, none of them are those red zone threats that will go up and get it, which is actually the Kyle Rudolph is one of the reasons for the red zone and the blocking.
Right.
But yeah, like Kenny Galladay is really just that big body receiver that we can put on the outside because we
I
don't.
just
That was the
can't.
only thing we were missing.
I just can't believe you're not
And,
talking about your biggest signing in Mike Glennon, Daddy
mm,
Longneck. Are you kidding me?
I
He's
miss
gonna lead
Colt
you to the
McCoy.
promised land.
Colt,
Colt McCoy
Colt,
left. That's
Colt
heartbreaking.
McCoy to zigzag, and that's how I beat Seattle. Colt.
I'm just saying, man. Mike
That
Glennon,
that was like
Daniel Jones. Watch. Picture it now. Daniel Jones is going to have a phenomenal first 13 weeks, looking like an MVP. Sets your franchise record in touchdown passes and passing yards in a single season. Tears his ACL week 13. Mike Glennon's going to come in, and nobody's going to have any expectations for him. You guys are going to make the playoffs as the 1 seed, have literally zero expectations, be seen as an underdog against the 7 seeded freaking San Francisco 49ers coming to MetLife Stadium, and you guys are going to win out in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl over um, Patrick Mahomes.
I wonder what this is. What you're talking about?
It's just going to
Hmm.
happen. I mean, I'm a
Hmm.
mind reader. That's
Hmm.
going to be Mike Glennon, so
See,
he's the best signing this offseason.
I honestly, I wouldn't oppose that, but I wonder where you got that from.
Well, no, I mean
Well,
you
no,
are
I
gonna
mean,
have to get past Joe Flacco and the Eagles in the NFC Championship, which is gonna be difficult
okay, but
because
that's
Joe
the
Flacco
same
is
thing.
elite. Um,
When the people who make the NFL schedule are smart, they make Giants Eagles Sunday Night Football Week 1. With
yeah,
it's
Flacco versus
a
Glennon.
huge no, it's a huge rivalry. New York sports, like the Giants definitely have a lot of potential coming off of like it's just the atmosphere feels different with Joe Judge. I think
You just want to see us get
and
humiliated, don't you?
well yes after but it's okay. Why don't you play what's his face Nate Sudfeld?
No, he went to the 49ers today.
Okay, yeah, no, but Nate Sud like after that like yes like I'm not like obviously we should have won more games. I'm not blaming you guys, but just doing that is just like as a
I kind of
competitor,
listen,
it's just not
listen.
okay. I
I'm a
know how
little
you
mad
feel
about it
about
too because
that. I know.
we don't have the sixth pick anymore, so I'm a little pissed about that. I mean that it's just literally
I
ah.
no. I the funniest thing is there was no when it happened. That's all I was saying because the Giants sub was making fun of the Eagles. It was like someone was like celebrating. He's like, yes, now we're definitely gonna get Jamar Chase. And then, like an hour later, it comes out that he traded to the 12 pick.
Still get Jamar Chase. He's gonna fall. No, I'm
Jamar
kidding.
Jamar
I'm
Chase
not that
didn't
delusional.
look here's the thing that Jerry Jones will if either Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase somehow falls to the 10th pick with the Cowboys, you know Jerry Jones is picking him because A, Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing, and two, he's gonna pick it just so either the Giants or the Eagles can't get them. It's like what they did with CeeDee Lamb last year. I think CeeDee Lamb was a great pick for the Cowboys, but you know that Jerry Jones really did that just to mess with the Eagles.
Yeah, not a fan of Mr. Jones. Anyway, anyway, let's move on to the NFC North.
Yeah. Honestly, it's gonna hard to choose like who won with between the Lions, Bears, Packers, and Vikings. Uh, none of them really made that many like huge pickups. Like besides Aaron Jones and then the Goff trade,
Patrick Peterson.
Andy Dalton to the Bears. Well, Patrick Peterson's okay, but like there's really nothing. Like I honestly got to go. Yeah, the Vikings probably won.
He's
With
past his prime, but
Pat, yeah, Pat Pete is solid. Dalvin Tomlinson's great on the D line with Danielle Hunter coming back. Is that what I'm thinking of?
yeah,
So I honestly like none of these teams like really impressed me. but then again, like, yeah, it's like they all did okay, and that was it. Maybe the Lions have some solid pickups,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say the
none of them are
Lions.
really that huge.
I was gonna say the Lions. I think people are gonna buy into what Coach Campbell's gonna bring. He brought in his tight end and Josh Hill. I think that's a good signing to back up Hawkinson. I really like the Michael Brockers trade. I think he's kind of hot. I mean, I just like it not only because he was like
Yeah.
screwing with Goff, but I think he's just like a solid
Yeah,
player. I mean, we'll have to see how he does outside of LA when he doesn't have Aaron Donald next to him. But I also like the Alex Anzalone signing. He's a solid linebacker. Also has connections to the coaching staff. I think that this coaching staff is going to whip this team into shape. The Packers, I think, lost. I mean,
yeah, they lost a lot on the
like you
on the off.
literally have rendered the AJ Dillon signing or the AJ Dillon drafting completely useless by bringing back Jones. You did not need to do that. The Bears also didn't do too well, but I think they get a little too much hate.
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
Andy
the
Dalton
reason why
shouldn't have.
they hate is just because like they were hoping for Watson or Wilson, and then they come back with the ginger Andy Dalton.
I don't know. Should have gotten Joe Flacco, then they would have been elite again. But
Mhm.
no, I think the Bears are
Okay,
going to go through a rebuilding. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears trade up in the draft to get like a Trey Lance. That would actually be really nice, in my opinion.
that would be surprising. Yeah.
That would be surprising, but they're going to go through a rebuild sooner or later.
In my opinion,
Dismantling that
the
defense.
Bears, the Bears are slowly just like collapsing, and it's happening so slowly. And with like the stuff going on with the Texans, no one's realizing. Like their defense has been slowly getting a little worse. Like every year, they have a lot of older guys that are aging, and obviously their players decreasing a little bit. Offensively, like they don't really have the quarterback
They
that they
still got Nick
need to
Foles. BDN.
win now. And like Allen
They did lose
Robinson, did
Trubisco,
Allen
though.
Robinson sign a contract? I don't think he did.
I think he's just on the tag right now.
Yeah, so like he wants out. So yeah, the Bears are soon gonna be like they're
Yeah,
gonna be
no,
like the Jaguars, while the Texans are the Jets.
I think losing Trubisco was probably the worst decision in franchise history. They should have held on to Mitchell Trubisky. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think he was the
Mm,
greatest thing that ever happened to their organization, right next to Nick Foles. So yeah, Lions win. It's yeah, but this division, like you said, nothing really awesome
yeah.
happened. I think Patrick Peterson's a solid signing just for depth purposes. Um, I think they have a good young secondary. They also got Mackenzie Alexander back and Dalvin Tomlinson. That was a good signing, I think.
Yeah.
Even
It's
though
sad to
Michael,
see him leave.
even though it's weird, just because Michael Pierce, who they signed last season, plays the exact same position, so it'll be weird what they do with them. One of them's gonna have to be a 3-4 D end, or they were just gonna both play D tackle, and even they're both nose tackles, so it'll be weird. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But NFC South,
Falcons, they're Saints, and Buccaneers. I don't really think there's much of a debate who won this. It's got to be the Buccaneers bringing back the first team since the salary cap era, which I think is 1994, to bring back the entire starting lineup after winning a Super Bowl. Like, there's no other team that like Saints are slowly declining. They have a lot of older guys, and their salary cap hell. Panthers had some solid signings, but like
Sam Darnold.
you can't say a team that brought back their entire starting lineup after winning the Super Bowl lost free agency.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. I think that I'm actually surprised that they actually got the whole band back together, but I do think that
I I thought Jack Barrett was leaving because he would have gotten so much more than what he got. What was it? 4 years, 68 million. That's
your cousin just
17
wants to
million.
win.
Don't blame him.
Um, I think it's second though by the Panthers. I like what the Panthers doing. I like that Sam Darnold trade. Um,
Oh my god.
now they can they don't need to draft. They don't need to reach on a quarterback in the draft because I don't think unless it's Trey Lance, I don't think any of the quarterbacks would really be good for them. I think Sam Darnold can have a rebuild. Can have a nice year again with the weapons that they have. They just need a tight end, and I think Sam Darnold and maybe like another offensive tackle. And I think Sam Darnold actually shows the potential that he had coming out of
Honestly, the best thing for the Panthers to do, in my opinion, is to let Teddy Bridgewater at least start this season, like the beginning, because Sam Darnold, does have talent, but you gotta remember he was thrown straight into the mix. He played Week 1 his rookie year with the Jets, and maybe it's kind of like a Winston kind of thing, where like they need that year to sit more and like really understand the game better in an NFL standpoint, and especially like I just think that it's a solid, like you said, they don't need to draft a quarterback, and yeah, a solid trade. I just think they gave up a little bit too much with the second round pick.
I mean, the Panthers gave up too much. I don't think so. I think giving up a second, a sixth, and a seventh, or second, fourth, and sixth, something. I don't think that was too much,
It's a
especially because
second, a sixth, and a fourth. Yeah,
especially considering Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick in the draft. I think that there was a reason for that, and when you give him a line that's led by Taylor Moton, um, and whoever else they're gonna roll out there, I think Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater should have a competition in the summer. But I do think that Sam Darnold is the more talented quarterback and is going to win out over Teddy Two Gloves.
I think I think Darnold is more talented, but I just think he needs that at least a little bit of time to to sit back and see the game from a different standpoint. That will
I
make
mean, but
his game a
you mentioned
much
his
better.
first ever career game against Detroit, absolutely phenomenal. So you can see what he can do when the circumstances are
He
right.
went, yeah. Well, I remember that game, the final score was 38-17, but it wasn't just like him winning in that game. The entire team played well, and they played hard, and that's why I think the getting a change of scenery where Matt Rule is getting that team into shape. I
And
think that
Joe
Matt
Brady is
Rule
an
has.
incredible offensive coordinator.
Oh yeah, I have a friend who's a Panthers fan, and I was talking to him. It's just like Matt Rule is creating such a bright future for the Panthers that they're going to be a force of reckon with soon.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Darnold's still young, talented. They got good linebackers in
They're,
Perriman. I think they stole Hassan Reddick, who had that one 5-sack game. I know you
yeah,
can't forget about that, but I like what the Panthers did, but obviously the Bucks, who brought back everybody, and having Tom Brady take a pay cut, and I think didn't Mike Evans take a pay cut too? I
yeah,
think he did, right? So yeah, bringing everybody back. They're gonna run it back. I don't know how far they'll get. I mean, obviously, Super Bowl is the prediction, but you never see that. You never see that.
no.
Um,
I
the
don't think
Falcons.
Brady's ever won 2 in a row, has he?
Brady has won 2 in a row, back in 2003 and 4 against the Eagles and
Oh
Panthers.
yeah,
Speaking of the Panthers, yeah, and the Saints are gonna fall off a cliff. The Falcons are just confusing, like I said. Um,
yeah,
they brought in Mike Davis. That's not gonna fix anything. They still need a thumper for that Arthur Smith offense. NFC
yeah.
West.
Rams, Niners, Seahawks, and Cardinals. Um, I really have to put it like. Yeah, put it between the Rams and the Cardinals. Cardinals made some solid signings. J.J. Watt, A.J. Green was a little confusing, but I still think he has potential to go back. The Rodney Hudson trade was phenomenal. Malcolm Butler, that's not terrible. And then the Rams, obviously, with the Goff trade and the signing of um, I'm not allowed to say his name. You know, if you know, you know.
Jax.
Yep.
But that was like it though. You know, I
Yeah,
think
that's what I'm saying. Like, Rams made few but very efficient signings.
I
Cardinals
don't
made a lot more, and I think hit on more.
I don't think Deshaun Jackson's an efficient signing. He played like what 6 games total in his second tenure in Philly in 2 years.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the thing. When he's healthy, he's going to be great. That's the only problem with being healthy with him.
Yeah, it's very hard to stay healthy, and he's a home run hitter, but he doesn't do too much else anymore. I mean, it was very hard to see in that sample size that he gave us, but um, but of course, I think the
But that's the thing
Cardinals.
with that offense. They didn't need the home run hit because Cup and Woods both phenomenal yards at the catch and like route running guys, and then they have a solid run game with Cam Akers.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's
they
really
more.
just the top guy.
I think they more needed a replacement for Josh Reynolds, who I think didn't he go to Tennessee? Yeah, I think Josh Reynolds went to Tennessee. Um, and they needed more of that kind of replacement. So
Well, what
someone who
about
could come.
Van Jefferson?
I think Van Jefferson is very similar to Deshaun Jackson in what he can do.
Yeah, I
They're
think
both kind of home run
Van
hitters.
Jefferson does have potential.
So I don't. I'm a little confused by the Deshaun Jackson. I think it's more for the optics and the showing loyalty
Yeah.
sort of thing to his hometown. I mean, of course, I think the Cardinals won, but I do like what the 49ers did, contrary to popular belief. Oh my God.
Oh
I
yeah, no, I just
like
they got
I
Alex
like
Mack
yeah, I like that
signed
Alex
Trent
Mack
Williams.
and Trent Williams.
Samson Ibukam, he's gonna fit him well. Emmanuel Mosley, Jason Durrett. Yeah. So they made a lot of they just brought back a lot of talent.
I mean, I think they were smart in not bringing back Richard Sherman. I think he's declining. Um, Richard Sherman needs to sign like a 1 year deal with a contender and then retire, in my opinion. Trent Williams, everyone kind of says, "Oh, is he really worth being the highest paid tackle in history?" Maybe not the highest paid in history, but he was damn good. He had such a revival in
Yeah.
San Fran. This is like the perfect situation for him. And the 49ers, it's the perfect situation to bring him back. So I agree with that. And I think an unpopular opinion that I believe is that the Seahawks soon will be in trouble. I think that they should have
Oh
probably
yeah.
dealt Russell Wilson. I think that relationship might never be fixed. And I think that if they acknowledged it now and were able and took the Bears deal, because they have very little draft capital as is, if they took the Bears deal, not only would they keep their offensive firepower with DK and Tyler Lockett and I think Will Disley is underrated. If they could invest in a new quarterback and basically start over. Pete Carroll can keep his job. I think Pete Carroll might be in the hot seat come next year. I don't think the
Yeah.
Seahawks even make the playoffs. Hot take. Um, I think they're
I
trying.
wouldn't be surprised about that. Like that's the only thing that they need is an O line for for us because they have some solid playmakers on their defense. Obviously, their defense lost them a good amount of like a couple, but like that offense, if they just fix the O line, they're going to be explosive.
They're. I think they're just banking too much on older dudes to still produce. Like Gabe Jackson,
Yeah,
that was a little confusing. Um, they signed back Puna Ford and then Al Woods. I mean, I guess they both did fine, but then why would you bring in Kerry Hyder? Akilla Witherspoon, I think, was probably their best signing.
yeah,
Um, although I do like them bringing Chris Carson back, he's
he's a
severely
beast.
underrated. Gerald Everett was an okay signing. But yeah, the Cardinals definitely won. I especially like for the Cardinals the Malcolm Butler signing. I remember not really hearing about it because I think it's only a 1 year deal, 1 year 6 million. But what they can do now is they can put Butler on the outside, move Murphy to the inside, and then draft a corner like a Caleb Farley to go next to it. Since I think Caleb Farley might fall to them. Spoiler alert. I think that would be a scary secondary, and and along with the pass rush that they get from J.J. Watt, the offense gonna be clicking on full cylinders. The AJ Green one is still a little confusing. I agree. I don't think that he's going to have a career renaissance like the Cardinals think he does, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. And that looks about time for today. Do you want to close it up?
Um, yeah, I mean, just keep tuning in. I would say fire Howie Roseman, but I don't hate the direction he's going in. Um, anymore. I like the 3 first round picks potentially next year. That would be fun. Um,
3.
yeah, if Carson Wentz plays well in Indy, we get 3.
Oh yeah.
And then if Jalen Hurts sucks, we can package all those for a quarterback. Um, sorry, I'm just bringing it back to the Eagles. It was a very dull free agency in my opinion. There weren't too many huge names other than J.J. Watt who really moved around. Um, I think that the Cardinals will. I think, in summary, I think the Seahawks will decline. The Cardinals will increase. Saints
I
will.
think the Bears are going to decline.
Bears, Saints gonna decline. YKTV. Jets,
The
Lions might have.
the Buccaneers are good, but I feel like they're gonna they're gonna have another year or two that's phenomenal and then go down. I think the NFC has a lot of young teams that are gonna come change the scenery around.
I like the
Hopefully,
Jags are gonna be young and dangerous.
Mhm.
Um, the NFC East got a little bit better.
I think the NFC East, besides the Eagles, is going to be very competitive. And I'm not saying because the Eagles, I just think
I
that
don't know.
they're in the process of rebuilding. But like the Giants and
Don't be
Washington
shocked.
both, I
I'm just
wouldn't be
saying.
surprised if they will win a good amount of games. But Giants and Washington are both like towards the end of their rebuilding stage. And the Cowboys, obviously, with that offense, you can never count them out.
Don't be shocked if Jalen Hurts QB1 exceeds everyone's expectations. Although
Oh, I think
you should be shocked
that's
though.
it.
I mean,
I think he's much better than a lot of people said, considering that like we had Carson Wentz like doing terrible, and Jalen Hurts came in and played well. Yes, he had the fumbling issue, but then again,
he
he's
was a
still
rookie.
young.
He was a rookie.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think that if they play their cards right, this for the draft, that he can have a great year.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. This should be out way too late, but it's all right. It'll still be out eventually. We love you. Thank you so much. Drop a like, subscribe, comment. It helps us out. Um, Anything you want to add, Adam?
No, we're good.
All right. Deuces.